Yeah. So I get asked this question a lot. How do you unlock the fretboard? And I think it's just kind of like a funny question because it's this word that we put to this idea, you unlock it. Like there's a key to this thing, but I really think we all know the answer. And the answer is learn everything about it. Okay, easier said than done, always. Like how do you get good at guitar? Play it a lot. All right, sure, but there's some steps that we could take to understand it more, right? So unlocking the fretboard, what does that mean? I think it really means how do you understand everything about the fretboard and how do I apply that to my understanding of music? I think it's always great to break it up into these two categories. You're learning guitar and you're learning music at the same time. So obviously most of you likely know some of your scale patterns, right? A pentatonic pattern or a major scale or minor scale pattern. That's a great start, but a lot of us stop right there. Right, a lot of us just find those patterns and they fool around with them. We're able to stay in the key. We're able to improvise in the key. Cool. But if I want to unlock the fretboard or take it to the next level of understanding, I want to understand how every one of those notes in those scale patterns and in those scales apply to each individual chord that I'm playing alongside. So that's something that also we say, hit the changes. Right, how do I hit the changes? Well, you play notes that correspond with the chord to emphasize that change or that chord. So that's the next thing that we want to do. We want to know our arpeggios, which is the chord broken up into individual notes, which creates a pattern. Now here's my simple trick to breaking down arpeggios and just boom, learning kind of one shape and letting it rule them all in a sense. If we think about it, out of the 7 chords we have that make up a major or minor scale key, 3 of them are going to be minor 7 to be specific. So we can learn the minor 7 arpeggio and bring that out, and all of a sudden we have 3 different chords if we just get familiar with that one arpeggio pattern, and there's going to be 5 across the whole neck. So I could take this chord progression in the key of C minor, learn the 5 patterns across the neck in the minor 7 arpeggio, and then times that by the 3 chords in it, C minor, G minor, and F minor, and then I have all these options to break up my solo and make it something interesting. Now, if you don't know a single minor 7 arpeggio, I have this dope exercise that's going to help us really just ingrain it into our system where we go through all 3 of those chords, the G minor 7, the F minor 7, and the C minor 7, up and down the neck. Again, this is really just an exercise to bring it up and down and really just ingrain these things. But after we get familiar with those arpeggio shapes and everything, the next thing we want to do is just have them so ingrained that we don't have to start at that first note, that first whenever we start learning something, we always got to start at the beginning and then go up. But for us to really have those arpeggio shapes down, we want to start in the middle and be able to switch between them. So I could switch between my C minor 7 to my G minor 7 or whatever, and that's where I'm really starting to unlock the fretboard, if you will. So after I have all these shapes down, I can go through this play along exercise going up and down each individual chord, just really ingrain them, warm up with that, and then have this next one where we're going to do this together, have the C minor 7 going up and then part of the G minor 7 going down. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it a little bit of a rhythm too, just to make it a little bit more interesting. I'm going to start on the second 16th note, so the 1 E, and every single time. And then when the G minor comes in, we want to feel it after that 2 beat, the 2 E. And that's just going to give it a little bit of an extra challenge, but also a nice feel rather than just a mechanical ba 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 ba, because we want it to feel good. So we're going to try that right now, and we're going to play along with it, and we're going to see how it feels. Here we go. So again, if you're trying to really up your game with the arpeggios, this is a great exercise. But if you want a better warm-up and you're a little bit newer to it, download the Playalong package with the video, the tabs, and the guitar profile so you could really just sink in these shapes and get them just secondhand nature. So we got that available for you at patreon.com/nastysoul. Check out the link in the bio below. So now let's see how we apply this through improvisation. And the simplest thing is, again, taking those three shapes, the minor 7 or the minor shape over this key. And I can just make like a cool lick just using those. So if I think about even like a basic triad shape, I could start right here. Here's my G minor. It's like, okay, G minor, F minor, C minor. Like, that's the same shape. I just want to start to get familiar with where to find them. And then I could come up with, just like that is like a cool, interesting lick that's going to break things up and then move me around the neck and into different positions to bring out more unique ideas. Now as we start to apply these ideas with improvisation, I always like to bring in some licks too. Let's not worry too much about the arpeggio thing right now. I just want to drop in some dope neo-soul licks. So in the key of C minor, I have my C minor box pattern right here. Right? And I'm going to play this lick like this. And I'm going to do that slidey arpeggio on that 11th fret. And one thing about this sound and this lick that I really like, that I think gives the lick the feel, is that staccato nature in those first couple of notes. All that staccato. Except for that, you know, obviously that note where we got to do the vibrato. But it's all bop. It's not staccato, groovy, rhythmic. So this next one, we're going to play around with this arpeggio shape that we didn't really tackle today, but it's basically centered around an A flat major 7 arpeggio, or we could just think major 7 arpeggio. But it's a little bit more than that. It adds in the scale as well. And we're not going to go too deep in it, but we're just going to vibe on this lick and see how it works in a musical setting. But let's check this lick out. Now let's grab one more lick to throw in here just to, again, add a little bit more to what we got going on. So I'm going to hang out around the C minor, you know, the C minor pattern right here. And the cool thing about this one is it's going to jump around in an interesting way that we wouldn't normally play it. That just makes it sound a little bit cooler, a little bit less expected. Okay? So let's try this. So the funny thing about this one is we're pulling off outside of the pattern right there, right? We're all up in the pattern, the position I should say, and then we're jumping out to pull off and get that. And then just little double stops. All right, so let's try some of this in context. I'm going to bust out these licks and bring out some of those arpeggios too, and we're just going to see how it sounds. Now, aside from just playing these arpeggios as a tool to break up something outside of a scale or a lick, how it unlocks the neck is it brings us the understanding of where those notes are for that chord so we could hit it, right? So if I'm playing around the C minor 7 or the C minor pattern right here, right? And I know that this is my G minor 7 arpeggio, maybe I could do a lick and know that I'm ending on that note in the chord. And that's where it really starts to count. So our last exercise that we could try is with this chord progression, that last 2 beats or so is that one G minor 7 chord. I could play around in the key of C minor and practice hitting those chord tones when that chord hits, and then I'm really hitting those changes, right? So I just want to focus on one area at a time and really lock it in. Don't overwhelm yourself with all these patterns. Stay in the pattern that you're going to use the most. So obviously this one right here, the pattern we all know and love, like where's the arpeggios around that? Where's that G minor arpeggio? Where's that F minor arpeggio? The C minor is a little self-explanatory in this individual key, so, you know, but still, we want to be able to find that and just stick in that area, master that one position before you move on, and that's the goal right there. All right, so for the tabs, the guitar profiles, to jam along to this backing track to really practice exactly what I'm going through here, check me out at patreon.com. Your support means everything, and I appreciate all y'all who are supporting this channel so far. I hope y'all are getting so much better at guitar. Appreciate it. Keep jamming and stay nasty.